Hi there. Thanks for coming back or perhaps joining me for the first time. I'm Alex Pavluk, the digital content strategist at the Montclair Art Museum. Museums like the Montclair Art Museum are supported by communities at large. We're a nonprofit, as a lot of institutions serving the art community are, and much of what we do is made possible by the generosity of a lot of really wonderful people both in and out of Montclair and the surrounding metro area. A large part of supporting not just your local museum, which can certainly be done through donations or membership, and is incredibly important for the sustainability of our service to the community. It's just being an active participant in the efforts of your city and your town and the businesses and institutions or local organizations that are pushing to make, in this case, Montclair, but really anywhere, a more inclusive or inviting place. This town, and by proxy, MAM included, have incredible community partners that we have worked alongside over the years, not just to drive attendance and museum participation, but just demystify what it is we're doing here at the museum and get new faces in the door to feel welcome, whether that's through exploring our galleries or just taking a class. A lot of times when we work with new community groups or organizations that haven't been to MAM, or at least haven't worked with us in a long time, they're amazed at the work that we do and the art that we show. You know, who would think that we'd have the chance to show Singer Sargents or the likes of Edward Hopper in a small town's museum's permanent collection? I know I didn't. I think about all of this in relation to our mission statement, the idea that through art, we create experiences that inspire, challenge, and foster community to shape our shared future. I think on that note, it's a good place to pause so we can talk with someone who knows a little bit more about community engagement and the importance of supporting not only MAM, but other longstanding institutions in general, whether that's through membership, donation, or just attendance. That would be our wonderful resident Canadian, Frances Smith. Hi, Frances.
Hi, Alex.
What's going on?
I got dragged into a podcast.
Yeah, that'll happen. What are your thoughts?
It sounds like a great idea.
What do you do at MAM? What is your role?
Oh, I
feel like you do everything.
sometimes it feels like that. No, I run the membership program and I run the annual fund program and I run the admission services and I dabble with the cafe too. I try and help that every weekend when it runs.
Yeah. My first day at MAM, not first day, my first week at MAM, the first project I was ever given, video project, was to create a video for the cafe opening, because I think I started the week the cafe opened.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, that had taken us, I don't know, several years to get to that point, and you just came in and made the most wonderful video that we keep using.
I don't know why we keep using it.
Well, no, it's a great one. It's got all the kids involved. It's got, some of the executive people there.
Yeah, it was a weird, fish out of water moment for me, because I showed up and Asif, granted, I had interviewed with him. He hired me, so he knew what I could or couldn't do.
Right.
And he knew that I had a little bit of video production background and was like, hey, we have this event.
And now you're the videographer. Official.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
Love it.
But yeah, he was just like, go make something. And I was like, well, do you want interviews? Do you need am I taking photos? Am I taking videos? And he's like, make whatever you want and we'll see if it's good. So
that's the video that got you the job, basically.
Essentially, yeah. I guess that was good enough for him. And yeah, that was here I am. So how did you find your way into the museum industry?
Well, I am a Canadian trained lawyer.
I didn't know you practiced law.
Yeah, I'm Canadian and I practiced law in Canada. But when I moved to New Jersey, they don't recognize my Canadian law degree. So I wanted to work. I had 3 high school students. So I was offered a job here in membership, and there was already a membership person here or an assistant membership person here. And so they basically taught me everything they knew for a year. And I did a lot of research and a lot of learning, and it was a really steep learning curve, but I figured it out and came to love development work. And from membership came annual fund and fundraising, and from that became the admissions, because that's also tied to membership here. And then I've always thought that this place needed a cafe, so then the cafe got added on. So sort of all evolved.
Yeah. It's strange because you do seem like a shark. You're never in one place. You're always moving. How did the cafe is one kind of like aspect of it, but like the museum's always had like a really, really substantial like involvement in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like when you were here, were those relationships already like really strong, or has your kind of role in development helped propel some of those relationships? Because I feel like people don't realize how important, whether it's our museum or another museum or any institution, public serving institution, nonprofit, having connections and really bridging like the institution and other organizations or nonprofits or community groups, that is really kind of like the backbone of a lot of what we do. And like the cafe wouldn't exist without that partnership with Cornerstone.
Exactly.
So, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
Well, I can't take credit for a lot of the partnerships we have, but I can say when I first started here 5 years ago, there was a conscious decision made to try and reach out and kind of dispel the image of us as the ivory tower and something that you could only come to if you had an art degree. So we began really in earnest, all of us here in development and our director, to reach out to community partners and try and draw them in, because then we can tap into their membership groups and we can sort of really situate ourselves as a community establishment versus just sort of the ivory tower on the hill. So from that, we started talking to API, and then we started talking to Empower the Village and the Latinos of Montclair, and everyone was really happy to be involved with us. And it's really nice to see the museum busy and bustling, and the fall fests and the Lunar New Year's and, all the things that we do. I mean, and then there's also the aspect of the museum that's the educational aspect.
Yeah.
And we get a great lot of school tours in. And so we have a good partnership through the education department as well. And membership is just part of that, because membership grows as people learn about the museum and learn that there's a lot of fun things to do here beyond just art galleries.
Yeah.
And that's the image I think that our marketing department is really trying to push now. It's a fun, accessible, great place to be with all sorts of different, like we have music things, we have book talks, we have Free First Thursdays, we have member events, member openings, previews, receptions. We have kind of something for everyone, but the trick is letting everyone know that.
Yeah.
To come. So... And I think since I've been here, we've made really good strides there.
Yeah, I definitely seem to think that like all of the work that I've done, I always, it comes up in conversations with whoever I'm working with internally, but a lot of the way that I like justify what I do is like the first thing that like, of course, is like, we're trying to market the museum. We're trying to, put our best foot forward and show our face and smile to the community and let them know we're here. But very close to that is then story. Story is incredibly important. Without story, you can't, you know. And I think that demystification is really, really important. I think one of the biggest like crutches of this podcast, in a sense, or like why we're even like trying to do this, is to let people know that we're not. I think my first week, it was somebody described the museum as like the mausoleum on the hill, where it's like they didn't know
exactly.
They didn't know it was a museum. They thought it was a mausoleum.
Yep.
And it's like, no, it's alive and bustling, and the people that are a part of it are excited to welcome new faces in. And I guess one of the things that like kind of talking about, all of the different events and stuff, what do you think, in your opinion, is the best way for somebody to first approach a museum if they've never been here before? Do you think it's through like those sorts of community events and community engagement?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think we assume a lot of people come to Free First Thursday, try it out, because you get in for free, you get a docent tour, you see the galleries. There's usually events associated with Free First Thursdays. And then you get a kind of taste, and you can come with your friends, and you can see that it's a social event. There's food, there's drink. And that's a good start just to see what's inside the walls. I think it's interesting. From my perspective, I don't have an arts background.
Well, same.
So, right. So when I'm thinking about marketing and thinking about events for people, I tend to think about people that don't have an arts background. And I like to think about what they would like to see here and how you draw in non-artsy people that may not be comfortable. That's kind of my perspective on everything. And that's why I think Pre-First Thursdays, it's easy, it's free, and it's accessible, and you can come with your friends.
Yeah.
We had, recently, we've had some meetup groups meet here. We had a university group come for their alumni. It's just a great place to have a meeting and get together with people.
Yeah. And, you hope essentially that through those interactions and through those people getting to kind of experience the museum, that they do hopefully continue to come and maybe join as a member.
Yes.
And what is the benefit, not just at MAM, but really of any organization or institution? Like, what is the benefits of becoming a member and staying so connected to something that a facet of your community?
Right. Well, for MAM specifically, if you're a member here, you have, and this is the same at all museums. If you're a member, you get a lot of discounts. You can take, and the discounts are huge, so they pay for the memberships. You also can make a lot of friends here and have friend groups here. When you're a member, there's a thing called a reciprocal benefit, and you get to go to other museums for free. So if someone joined here, they can go to Newark, for instance, and not pay the admission prices. And museums are getting pretty expensive now. So that is a really big savings to have the reciprocal memberships. You also, I think, by joining a museum and MAM, you get to know what's happening in the community because we have so many community partners. Like, you'll hear about Lunar New Year because we have the member weekly email and newsletter. So you'll find out what's going on in your own community, and you can pick and choose what you like. And the memberships are very reasonably priced, and I think you get good value for your money here.
I think the biggest takeaway is that museums aren't just museums. There's so much else happening, and you don't have to necessarily have a membership to be engaged, but it certainly does elevate and expedite, I think, someone's entrance into this culture, this world that might have seemed unreachable or unobtainable, whether it's because you didn't think, it's too highbrow for me, or, I just don't have that interest. There's so much here beyond just art.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The art is great. And if you do find yourself coming for an event and stumbling into the galleries, maybe through a membership, you learn to go, okay, well, MAM was my first museum, but what else is out there? And,
right.
Like you're saying, if there is that chance to have a free ticket to a different museum, why wouldn't you go see what's there too?
Yeah, we have some great art here. I haven't really talked about the art because I don't feel qualified, but we do have some great exhibits, interesting exhibits. We pull in people from New York. We pull in people from all over Jersey to come see some of our top-notch exhibitions.
I talk about it often, but my first walk through the galleries on my first day that Asif took me on, we were just stumbling through, and he's like, oh yeah, here's here's our Andy Warhol that's on the wall, and it's down now, but it was like, what? That's just here? And the more familiar I become with fine art or really just art in general, more names become more prevalent, and I'm like, I'm more inclined to know who we're talking about. But even the big ones do stand out. I mean, there's a Georgia O'Keeffe, there's a Warhol, there's Singer Sargent, there's Singer Sargents that are about to be on display. It's exciting.
I agree. And for someone that, like myself, that doesn't know about art, I've really come to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have learned an incredible amount. It's beautiful. It's interesting. It tells a story. There's a lot of social justice we deal with here through art. Yeah. So if you're not an art person, I'd say definitely it's an opportunity to learn and enjoy.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Frances. I really appreciate you hopping on with me for this one. Is there any parting words or anything going on here at the museum or in your own life?
Well, it's outdoor pickleball season, so baby. I try to get on the courts as much as I can.
Tear it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice and warm now finally, so it's a great time to get into the pickleball.
Well, thank you so much, Frances.
You're so welcome.
All right.
Take care.